being successful requires requires a lot of. I go back to that work, the work ethic being, and it's the same thing for the coach. If you want to have if you want to be successful as a coach, you have to be ready to put in a lot of hard work. And first of all, you have to prepare yourself. You can't fool players for very long. You've got to have a good knowledge base about the game you're coaching. Like you can't even fool a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old if you go out there on the ice and you're not unsure about what you're doing, you're not prepared. Preparation is one of the keys to success. Making sure you know exactly what you're going to do, what you want to teach, and the things you want to teach the players. And then to be successful, another thing you have to work on very diligently is your communication skills. And that comes along with having a good knowledge base. If you feel comfortable about your knowledge base, then usually you can communicate things. But it's not, I think communication is one of the most important things, because a lot of times we don't communicate with a lot of clarity. You know, a lot of times there's uncertainty about the things you say, and that's tough on the players. The players aren't completely sure sometimes. If that happens, you're in big trouble. So being a good communicator helps. And I always say at clinics, and I'd like to repeat it now too, that when coaches are starting out particularly, they shouldn't be too, I'm looking for the word, they shouldn't be too challenged by the fact that, oh, I don't know that much about the game yet, and I don't really communicate that well yet. Well, nobody does. When I started coaching in any of the different sports, you feel your way along. You start as a novice, just as you do as a player, and you gradually improve. As the key thing is, you're working at improving, and the status quo is no good. You've got to keep moving ahead, and gradually, I can think back in my I mentioned this at clinics often too, of all the mistakes I made. One of the big mistakes I made, and was talking too much when I was coaching, and this is in hockey, and I say at coaching clinics, and I go out and watch my grandson practice, and I see sometimes coaches will bring the players in, and they'll have them around. They may be 8 or 9 years old, and the coaches will talk to them for 4 or 5 minutes. Well, after the first 45 seconds, the 10-year-old is over here. His mind is not there. You know, and they can't not comprehend. They can comprehend if you don't give them a whole bunch of stuff. But that's a mistake that I made when I started coaching. And I always tell young coaches that, because I want them to feel that, hey, this guy that's talking to us now is certainly not perfect. It wasn't perfect. And you've got to, and that's one mistake I made. And there's several others. I'm not going to go into them right now. But, you know, just little things that you learn. And that's how you learn, through mistakes that you make. And there's one thing about mistakes: you've got to learn from other people's mistakes. Watch other people, because you learn from other people's mistakes because you couldn't possibly live long enough to make them all yourself. So you've got to learn from other people.